Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who figure review. In today's Doctor Who figure review, I'll be taking a look at the companions of the 4th Doctor collector set containing Sarah Jane, Romana I and Romana II. So for many people, this set I can probably imagine is number one on the most wanted list of the B&M sets for 2020 from this wave, because obviously it's a classic Sarah Jane, Romana I and Romana II. Characters what we never thought we would see, and here we are in the year of 2020 and we have them in action figure form. So the way this video is going to work, I'm going to obviously show the packaging, do the articulation in detail and do comparison to existing figures, what these figures have used to be made to make these new characters for our figure shelves. Without further ado, let's look at the packaging. So taking a look at the packaging for the companions of the 4th Doctor. So we have the style guide motif packaging there. We've got the nice window box display displaying all the figures with Sarah Jane there, Romana I and of course Romana II. And then the limited edition sticker there with the name of the set and then the scale of the figures. Side of the box. On the back of the box we have the prototype images of the figures themselves, and then what the set includes Sarah Jane Smith, Romana I and Romana II. And the other side of the box again saying what the set includes, and we get a nice sort of side profile of Romana II. So here we have the wonderfully iconic Sarah Jane. Yes, we finally have a classic Sarah Jane based from her appearance in the latter end of Genesis of the Daleks and Revenge of the Cybermen. So let's look at the articulation, then we'll go on to the detail. So taking a look at the articulation for Sarah Jane, the head can move side to side, the arms can do a full 360 degree turn, 360 degree turn at the bicep, bend at the elbow, we do have 360 degree turn at the wrist. The waist can do a full 360 degree turn, the legs are on a T-crotch joint so they can kick out and do the splits, bend at the knee, and 360 degree turn at the boot. So moving on to detail for Sarah Jane. So taking a look at the hair now, the hair is done really well. As you can see these faint lines on the actual hair itself to give it sort of that illusion of the individual strands of hair. Obviously you've got sort of the curling detail where the hair naturally falls and part. You know, it's just done really well with a little slight curling detail there and sort of the fringe detail. It's just done really well. Then we move on to the head sculpt. It's just superb. It definitely does look like a young Elizabeth Sladen. It just has that very nice youthful look to it, and oh, it's just superb. It is marvellous. From certain angles it really does look like Elizabeth Sladen, especially from the side profile it does look like her, and obviously the paint apps are incredible and it is just a wonderful likeness. I feel like this is one thing what is really strong within this wave of B&M figures is the likenesses. The likenesses are just superb. I just love them. They're absolutely great. So the costume itself, obviously it uses the sort of Martha Jones combat figure, and they've obviously tried to sort of do the paint apps to sort of resemble her appearance in sort of Genesis of the Daleks and Revenge of the Cybermen. So the costume has been given this sort of nice olive green sort of jacket, and then we've got this sort of lighter sort of green colour there on the actual top of the lapels of the jacket to give sort of the illusion of the shirt, because Sarah did wear a sort of open sort of shirt in that, and obviously to give that illusion of that she is wearing the shirt underneath, but obviously the button is obviously the jacket is all buttoned up so you can't see the shirt. So obviously we have the sort of buttons painted there in black to really sort of stand out against the sort of olive green nature. We've got sort of a belt going along the back of the figure there, and obviously you've got the creasing detail and the seams of the jacket to give it that lifelike effect there, which is done really well. Moving down to the trousers, we've got the sort of belt buckle painted there with a silver, and then we move to the sort of combat trousers, which are done really well. I think they're done really well actually. I wasn't too keen on the actual original images, but it's one of those ones what just works so much better in hand. Obviously we've got the sort of pockets sculpted there and sculpted there, and again the seam going along the trousers there, and obviously you've got the nice sort of camo look of the trousers, which is done really well. Again, pockets on the back of the trousers. The lower end of the trousers, you've got where the sort of trousers sort of tuck into the boot, which is really nice with that nice creasing detail which character options just do superbly. So we move down to the boots. The boots are done really well, which has this sort of nice sort of black heel to give that a nice definition of the sole. We've got the great detailing of the buckle there, the laces, and obviously where the laces all sort of go into the actual boot itself. It is all very good detail. So the detail for this figure is superb. So if we move on to the comparison of the Combat Martha Jones. So here we have the Combat Martha Jones figure. As you can see, it is basically the same body. And obviously I think that this is I feel like this works very well for the sort of Sarah Jane from Revenge of the Cybermen and the latter end of Genesis for Daleks. And obviously using this costume makes us have some great sort of scene recreation, so you can recreate the famous scene of "Do I Have the Right?" You know, I feel like this is a sort of a good, I feel like the Martha Combat figure is a good base figure for this Sarah Jane. I'm very happy to finally have a classic Sarah Jane. And one final thing for the Sarah Jane figure, just comparing the sort of Sarah Jane figure, Sarah Jane Adventures figure, you can see the difference in the head sculpt, and obviously character have done a wonderful job capturing a more younger Elizabeth Sladen. And something what is incredibly satisfying is we can now complete the Season 12 TARDIS team, and doesn't she look great next to the Genesis of the Dalek figures and Revenge of the Cybermen. It's just so satisfying to complete another TARDIS team. So moving on to the rather glamorous Romana I, played by Mary Tamm. Now this costume is from when she appears in the Pirate Planet, so let's look at the articulation, then move on to the detail, and then we'll do the comparison. Taking a look at the articulation for Romana I, the head can move side to side, the arms can do a full 360 degree turn, 360 at the bicep, bend at the elbow. We do have a 360 degree turn at the wrist. The waist can do a full 360 degree turn. The legs are on a T-crotch joint so they can kick out and kick backwards, and of course do the splits. We do have 360 degree turn at the thigh and bend at the knee. So taking a look at the detail for Romana I, so we start off with the hair. Now the hair is done incredibly well. As you can see, we've got sort of a dark base brown colour, then a sort of a chestnut brown wash over it to really highlight the hair detail. As you can see, we've got the parting detail there, which is done really well. Obviously we've got the great sort of curl detail there, which is done really well where the hair naturally falls, and obviously the lighter brown wash really does highlight the curl detail there, which is just done superb, and it is really well done. And I definitely like it with sort of the little flicks of the hair there. It really does make the figure seem very lifelike. So if you move down to the actual head sculpt, I think that this is a really good likeness for Mary Tamm. I feel like the raised eyebrow really helps it, that sort of slight sort of sassy look. You know, you can just sort of display it next to Tom Baker and sort of giving the Doctor the sort of raised eyebrow, going, oh, here he goes, he's off again. And I feel like this is definitely a really good likeness. You know, definitely does look like her. I feel like the prototype images don't do this figure justice. It definitely does look a lot better in hand, and character options have just done a superb job with this. It's just absolutely superb. I really do like it. You know, obviously this figure leaked back in sort of April time, wasn't it? And obviously then it leaked on eBay, and here it is. And I have to say that it's definitely a figure what just looks so much better in hand. So moving down to the costume now, obviously because this uses a primeval body, the costume isn't going to be entirely accurate, but this is a close approximation to what Romana I wore in the Pirate Planet, because obviously she wore this sort of top over the sort of shirt. If you take a look at the jacket, now the jacket is done rather well. It's been given this sort of metallic pink finish to it, which really does stand out and make the figure pop. And obviously you've got a sort of creasing detail there, the sort of seams of the jacket there, which is done rather well. Obviously the buttonholes where the jacket would fasten, then we've got this sort of shirt detail with the creasing and where the buttons are on the actual shirt. But one thing I would have preferred character to actually have done is just left this whole sleeve white and not sort of paint the pink sleeve there to show where the top ends. I think they should have just left it there personally. I think that would have made it look a little bit better, because it does look a bit odd. I think it would have just been better just to have left it white, but I can understand why they've done it, just to show that it widens out the sleeve really. But nevertheless, we've got the detailing there of the buttons there on the cuff, again pockets on the back of the jeans. Moving down to the trousers, we've got the buckle painted on the trousers, again the nice creasing detail, and then again some creasing detail on the bottom of shoes there and the seam of the trousers. So the detail is pretty simplistic, but I guess that's down to the nature of the costume, but it definitely does look very vibrant with the metallic pink finish. So moving on to the comparison for Romana I, so the base figure is a Claudia Brown Primeval figure, and I would say that the base figure for it, using the Claudia Brown figure, I think that it works rather well. If it lets us have a Romana I figure, then I'm all for it. So I feel like it works very well, personally. Obviously I feel like it's a good close approximation to what Romana wore in the Pirate Planet. But this isn't the only time we see the Claudia Brown body being used in the B&M line for 2020, because it was also used for Yaz. So there we go, we've got the sort of three figures there. The base figure Claudia Brown probably works better for Yaz compared to Romana I, but I feel like that's more down to this. That actually seems more closer to what Yaz actually wears. But I still think that it works rather well for Romana I. And another thing what's incredibly satisfying is we can complete the Season 16 TARDIS team. So off the 4th Doctor, Romana and K9 can go and find the key to time. It would have been nice if Romana I did come with like the Tracer. I feel like that would have made the figure even more complete personally. But of course, Romana is the first figure to be released from season 16. So yeah, it just looks great to have it, you know, Vashada, 4th Doctor, and Romana I and K9 together. It just looks wonderful. Moving to the noblest Romana of them all, Romana II. So let's take a look at the articulation and the detail for Romana II. Taking a look at the articulation for Romana II, the head can move side to side. The arms can do a full 360-degree turn, 360 at the bicep, bend at the elbow. We do have 360 at the wrist. The waist can swivel but is hindered by the coat. The legs do kick out but again is hindered by the coat itself. We do have thigh articulation and bend at the knee. So taking a look at the detail for Romana II. So the hair is done incredibly well. As you can see, it's sort of given this sort of base blonde colour, and then they sort of give it sort of a brown wash to really sort of give it that sort of root look to it. As you can see, especially on the top, we can see the difference there. You can sort of see where the hair naturally falls in the individual strands of hair, which is done incredibly well, and the hair sort of slicking back to the side, and obviously the parting what Lala Ward has, which is all very well. So if you move down to the actual head sculpt, now the head sculpt is superb. It definitely does look like Lala Ward. You know, the slight little smile and the little dimples on the face, it just does look like Lala Ward, and really just captures sort of season 17 Romana very well. Moving down to the costume, now this is based from her appearance in Destiny of the Daleks, arguably Romana II's most iconic costume, and I can definitely see character options releasing a sort of Horns of Nimon look, which would be great. So the costume is done rather well. Obviously it uses the Sarah Jane Adventures body from the Kudlak set, which for the life of me I can't seem to find that figure. I do have it, it's just gone walkie somewhere. So the costume is done really well. I feel like character options have done a really good job of sort of making this sort of body work for the Destiny of the Daleks Romana. As you can see, we've got sort of a red trim of the jacket there on the lapels, and the red piping going all across the jacket, and the red buttons, sort of buttons there. Obviously we've got the sort of lines there to give the illusion of pockets, which is done really well. We've got sort of a tassel, we've got the sort of jacket fastening there, a buckle on the jacket, and again the red piping on the trim of the jacket, and again pockets there to give the illusion of pockets, and again the buckle detail there, the creasing detail, and the fastening along the actual jacket, and again the typical creasing detail, what we all know from a character option. Now the coat should be a little bit longer because obviously it's a bit more of a trench coat, but you know what, I feel like it works very well. The scarf, a lot of people, you know, thought that it would just be a reuse of the 4th Doctor scarf, but it is a new sculpt. As you can see, the Romana scarf is a lot more thinner, and it is removable. It's made of a very sort of flexible PVC, and that can just be removed like so. So you can see there, it is very, very rubbery, so you can move around. But obviously the head is actually sculpted for the scarf, so it does look a bit odd when you take the scarf off, but you can have a closer look at the detail of Romana's jacket there. So if you take a look inside the jacket, obviously in Destiny of the Daleks Romana were quite sort of high-waisted trousers, and I've tried to sort of replicate that there, but it didn't quite work. Obviously you can see the costume a lot better on the Revenge of the Slitheen sort of costume there. You can see what they've basically done for it. You know, but I feel like it just works, and obviously you're not going to see that when you've got the scarf on because the jacket's closed, so it just works fine personally. So if we move down to the trousers, again we've got the nice sort of pink detail, the creasing of the jeans, and we've got a sort of nice sort of burgundy brown colour for the boots there, with the buckles sculpted there and painted there, which is done really well, and the zip going along the boots, and that definitely does look like what she wore in Destiny of the Daleks, was the boots to mimic the 4th Doctor. So that is Romana II's detail. So taking a look at the detail for the scarf, there's not much to say. There's not real much detail on it compared to like the standard 4th Doctor scarf, but we do have sort of a tassel detail there. But yeah, that is the detail for the scarf. There's not much sort of detail on it because it was a lot more of a silkier scarf in Destiny of the Daleks compared to the more knitted look of the 4th Doctor scarf. And as you can see, Romana II looks excellent with the Destiny of the Dalek figure, so that is absolutely wonderful. So there we have it, the 4th Doctor companion lineup so far. So we've got the season 12 TARDIS team of Sarah and Harry, 4th Doctor and Leela, 4th Doctor and Romana I and K9, and then of course Romana II and the 4th Doctor. I guess we just need Adric, Tegan and Nyssa, but I guess we'll probably see those in a Companions of the 5th Doctor set. So what are my concluding thoughts on the Companions of the 4th Doctor collector set? Well, it's incredibly positive. I think that this is a must for any classic Doctor Who fan. It is a great way of building up the companions, and I feel like this set is going to be the start of a whole new trend in the Doctor Who B&M figure line. I definitely can see B&M and character options continuing doing companions for other Doctors. Obviously we saw the unit set and obviously completing the sort of 13th Doctor's fam this year. I definitely can see them doing more companions down the future line. I definitely can see this starting to become a trend in the B&M figure line. I feel like the likenesses are superb. I feel like that is some of the strongest work character options have done. The classic Sarah Jane, it's great to finally have a classic Sarah Jane and put her next to a sort of 3rd Doctor or 4th Doctor. It's great, and obviously having Romana I, a figure I just never expected to see in the figure line, and to finally have one, it's just so great. Like I said, I feel like it would have been nice if she come with sort of the key to time tracer. That would have been lovely, or sort of the key to time as an accessory. That would have been beautiful. And Romana II, a wonderful, wonderful figure. And obviously we can now create those famous adverts for Prime Computer. Clever Prime. So yeah, this is a wonderful figure set and is definitely a highly recommended one from me. I absolutely love these figures, and some of the best work character options have done in some recent years. So I absolutely love this set. So thank you very much for watching this figure review. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you on my next figure review, which will be a review of the Unit 1971 collector set. So thank you very much and goodbye.